The economy. This is a poem called Home Economics. The economy. The economy. What's the economy? Is it something like maybe a country or even a god? The economy. The economy needs you to spend your labor in exchange for symbols of value that in turn can be spent for stuff you might or might not actually need, but which you believe you want, like a slim white bone to pierce through the septum of your nose, and which maybe made you look so pretty at the dawn of civilization. Your strength and skills are human capital, but Marx is out of style, and common sense has always been uncommon, and dollars a challenge to obtain for so many of us. Nevertheless, they multiply within the treasure chests of those in the 21st century so wealthy they can't calculate the monetary worth of 1 second of their time, although the thought of losing time, which for them is perhaps the same as missing out on money, is probably put out from their minds because life is an incalculable sum, and deep down, everybody knows death spares no one. The economy continues no matter it demands descendants and inheritance tax loopholes so as to pass down names and property. It's a rabbit hole kind of thing, the economy thing, where money is king, and the more you have, the deeper in you go. And you might imagine you might not even have to die. You might be able to buy immortality, upload your brain to a satellite, or freeze your head until such time as it can be sewn to a beautiful corpse. Ha! Why not? If the economy keeps growing, maybe science in service to those wishes will make them come true. Therefore, the economy has needs of us, like the hive's worker bees and ants, all female, I'm obliged to say, and maybe with everyone in its service, biological men will hardly be necessary when all are enthralled to a great queen who might herself once have been the king of an anthill that nobody alive will have ever heard of. If the economy wants that. Most of all, the economy wants you. It depends on you. Can't you hear it crying during the coronavirus pandemic? The economy is waiting to reopen. The politicians are waiting. The restaurateurs are waiting. The musicians are waiting. The doctors without borders or PPEs are waiting. Everyone waiting for a cure. So how can that be monetized? Maybe instead of a fix, a virus management industry, like the way that cancer is supported for years while money is spent and people wait to die. They were, after all, going eventually. It's the economy, stupid, said one president thinking about his re-election, and somebody else. People tend to vote their pocketbooks. Does that need to be repeated? Well, at the bottom of their hierarchy of needs, people look to survive and to have their tribe prosper. And then maybe they look around at what's next door, and is it greener over there? Everybody gets that. The craving, the envy, the wish, however vain, to possess the object of desire. But there's also interdependence, altruism, transcendent love, caring about those whose hardships you imagine. Politics. Now, there's another word almost meaningless. Unless you figure in the polis, the people of Greek origin, like democracy and ecology, from ecos, household, out of which comes economy, which makes home economics redundant. But who doesn't like cleanliness and a penny well spent? Who wouldn't want to listen more carefully as trees do to each other? The economy is simple if you think about what you actually need to be content and aren't excessive. That's being economical, whether with money or time or energy. And what would you trade for the well-being of your household, for safety, for a roof over your head, food on the table, medical care? Likewise, politics would be simple if politicians served the wishes of the people who voted for them, and if those holders of office weren't so corruptible. Also loud and self-important, usually proclaiming the economy depends on them, which translates that their re-election does, when really the economy feeds on the fuel that working stiffs stoke it with. Oh, here I go again, deriding capitalism as if that were the same as economics. Economics are systems of exchange, and what would you give for the freedom from need? I know a woman, a single mother of 2 daughters, who once wrote she would do anything necessary to keep her children safe. That's a standard difficult for some people to imagine. How would you safeguard your planet, your mother? You would need to get smart about farming and forestry and water purity, air cleanliness, oceanography, human overpopulation, conservation of resources, the causes of poverty and racial oppression, the education of women, obscene military budgets, and deal with your despair at the size of the mess. You would have to give back to the commonweal as much as possible and keep in reserve something extra, like seed corn, in order to plant next year's crop, and also enough to belay unforeseen shortages, like equipment on hand in case of future pandemics. Simple forethought. Homo sapiens practiced for several thousand years after agriculture was invented. Yes, it was invented. And also, and why not, remember the world of the early hunters and gatherers, who came onto the earth after plants and animals did, that were wise in their own ways and abundant, whose spirits were praised and thanked and invited back by the people who ate them and took a feather or bone to wear with joy. That's Home Economics. I'm Peter Fortunato.